It's crunch time here in the studios of Austin Peay. Reese Britt, Christian Hunt, and Dylan Walton here again with you guys. Guys, first and foremost, how we doing?
We're good, man. The week is good. I'm glad to be back.
Money.
Yep, you guys did a good job last week. Peay, shout out to her. She killed it on here, so it's good to be back.
Yeah. How about this weather outside? First and foremost, I mean,
it's starting to get right.
Yeah,
it's starting to get right.
It's starting to get to windows rolled down and hand hanging out the car window.
Not for real.
With the radio blaring.
I was about to say that's what on my way here today. I went to the golf course and then came here and windows were down, music was going. It was a good time. I mean, it just feels good to wear some shorts for once.
Not for real, and not freeze.
Yeah, seriously, no. But yeah, if I've been everywhere of recent, so if I sound a little nasally or whatnot, I've got something going on up here in my head. So
from some nostrils.
Yeah, seriously. No, we're traveling.
Has he got the vid?
No, I don't have the vid.
Don't even speak that.
I do not have the vid. Trust me. But going from 27 degrees in Nashville to Jacksonville, get on the plane and then come back, it was a whole ordeal. But that's not why we're here. Crunch time, baby. Let's get right into Austin Peay men's basketball. We got about 10 minutes to talk about this. Austin Peay gets their first win over North Alabama, 87-79, to earn a spot within the ASUN tourney. Isaac Haney had a night with 32 points, going 10 for 18 from the field and 5 for 7 from three-point range. First and foremost, that guy can play.
What a night.
What a night.
I mean, that guy we knew this. We knew it kind of coming into the season. I met him before through a couple athlete events or whatever, and he was a transfer he went from Missouri State, Corey Gibson was, to Northwestern State, where he was also, and then followed him here. Wasn't eligible for like the first half of the season. Yep. Comes in, makes an automatic impact in the game.
No, absolutely. And I mean, it seems like through this win streak or even through the season, it seems like every guy's had like a moment.
Yeah,
where it's like they have stepped up and been the guy, right? Jamonte Black and DeMarcus Sharp were the two guys we kind of circled at the beginning of the season. And, I mean, those guys are playing well, don't get me wrong. But it seems like when they win, there's always that third guy.
Yep.
There's that other guy that steps up. And tonight, or in this case, it was Isaac Haney. I mean, 32 points, 5 for 7 from three. I mean, that's about as efficient as it gets. 10 of 18 from the field. That's about as efficient as it gets. I mean, if you get half that night in and night out, as kind of a third option to Black and Sharp, I mean, you're talking about making a run,
no doubt,
towards the back end of the season.
And if I'm not mistaken, he comes off the bench, right? He doesn't, unless they've adjusted the starting lineup lately.
Well, he was in the starting lineup for this game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But normally he comes off the bench.
When DeMarcus Sharp, who's been out for an extended amount of time, when he is back, he's normally in that starting role, and then Isaac Haney goes to the bench.
Yeah.
But I mean, guys, Austin Peay's been on a 5-game win streak without DeMarcus Sharp, who coming into the season and through the beginning parts of the season was our best player. No doubt. But Desi Jones also had an impressive night with 24 points, going 7 for 14 from the field and 2 for 4 from three. The starting five essentially played the entire game, with Jordan Wilmore playing the most minutes off the bench with 6. Hansel Emmanuel only played 1 minute. We don't really know how that kind of plays into it, because it could be a matchup situation.
Bro,
where
he doesn't get no PT for real.
Yeah, it's weird.
He don't get no. He's not good, bro. I'm sorry. He's not good.
You don't think he's good? For
a man with one arm, and he's made to this level, congratulations, bro. But there's a reason why we're at the collegiate professional level. Like, let's just keep a book. Like, he is handicapped, bro. Like, real. But I believe he had 2 arms. He wouldn't even be here. He'd be top 5. Because he has the talent, he's just handicapped.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to him, when he does play, it seems like he does the little things, kind of like a Draymond Green, that they don't get on the stat sheet. Yeah. But he's going to go dive for the 50-50 ball. He's going to make the tough defensive play. But, in terms of production as an offensive player,
he ain't gonna give it.
You can't rely on him. I mean, and even in Northwestern State, he's putting up the same numbers. I mean, right now I'm looking at his ESPN stats. He's averaging about 2 points a game, 3 boards a game, half an assist a game. He's averaging 67% from the field, which is good when he does shoot.
Yeah.
But he's just not going to be a guy that's going to put up numbers.
Yeah.
Right.
Even though in the face of Austin Peay, he's probably got one of the bigger faces Austin Peay's ever had.
Yeah.
No, for real.
For their athletic program.
His NIL value is the biggest in probably Austin Peay history. Obviously, I know.
I would say
Yeah.
it's
He walks
not even
around
close.
in the
Not even
Miri
close.
jeans, so that NIL is
Yeah.
hitting for real. That NIL is hitting.
But the Govs improved to 5-13 overall, extending their win streak to 5. The Govs will next see action Saturday, the 24th, as they look to extend their win streak against Lipscomb. And I want to touch on this a little bit because with Austin Peay's 5-game win streak within the conference, most importantly, they're sitting third right now, and a tie for third. If I'm
They
correct,
are.
right?
They're currently in fourth,
Okay,
but
fourth.
Lipscomb is in third.
Gotcha.
And in terms of the conference, but you are right in terms of conference, they're third.
Yes, yeah, that's what I was saying. Yeah.
You get the win over Lipscomb, you move right up to third.
Yeah.
And we start talking. I mean, you got to finish the regular season strong, but
3 games left.
3 games left, and you start talking about getting a little bit better of a bid in the ASUN tournament. I mean, you can make a run here at the end.
And the next week's midweek, who's that against? The number 1 team in the ASUN, Eastern Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we have them? F&M Bank Arena. I expect if we
That's gonna
beat
be
Lipscomb, I expect everybody listening to this podcast, I expect everybody that calls themselves an Austin Peay sports fan to be in that arena because these guys are doing something that we haven't seen this place do in, 4 years, 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is pretty special. I mean, these guys have worked all week. I mean, really all season. They put themselves in a great spot this week to do something that, is going to be pretty special, and especially in Corey Gibson's first year with kind of a makeshift team.
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest.
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about earlier in the season of the show. We talked about how it goes up and down the first season.
Yep.
There's some inconsistencies. Now they've hit their stride and they continue to rise. Can they keep that up going in the later part of the season? Because what is the typical tribe with basketball? Or even any sport, you want to play your best ball at the end. You don't want to play at the front. You want to play good ball at the front, but if you had to pick your time, it would be towards the end.
It would be. And Lipscomb is on the roll right now. 4-1 in the last 5, all close games. We're down to the wire, boys. Like I said, March is around the corner.
I love it, man.
Magic can happen.
Special things happen in
That's
March,
what I'm
and
saying.
most importantly, special things happen for teams like Austin Peay and teams like a St. Peter's or a UMBC or a team like that. So it'll be interesting. I'm super excited to watch this
That's
team.
a Saturday, right?
What do you mean? The
Lipscomb?
Lipscomb game is
That's
this Saturday, and then I think next Wednesday is EKU at home. Then that next Saturday is Bellarmine at home.
Yep.
So 3 home games to finish out the year.
You can't even ask for nothing.
So you've got 2 really good opponents coming up,
Mm-hmm.
and we're not to overshadow Bellarmine, but they're not one of the better
They're not
teams in the
great.
conference.
Yeah.
But they play the right brand of basketball. That's what breaks undisciplined teams, though. They gonna move it. They gonna have 45 passes before a shot go up.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my freshman year watching Bellarmine. This was still in the Dunn Center, and this was the first game I've ever attended with Austin Peay or whatnot. And they played Bellarmine, one of the first conference games of the year, or not even a conference game at that point. And I swear to you, they took maybe one dribble in offense possession. They moved it around. All they would do is really they would screen the opposite side, backdoor cut, boom, hit them, lay in. And of course, at that point, we weren't a disciplined basketball team, so they just kept doing it over and over and over again. And it was just like, I mean, it was like beating your head against a car door.
But it was beautiful to watch, though.
Oh, it was great. It was great. But yeah, Bellarmine's not a very good team this year, but anybody can win. The ASUN's not a very good basketball conference. I'll say it. I mean, there's not a team on there that hasn't lost, double-digit games.
Yep. I mean, we just cannibalize each other.
Yeah, ultimately.
Or is that I'm not going to go reach. I was going to say it was like a reason to say, like, the ASUN is tough within itself because
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're a bad basketball conference.
You just ranking out of.
But when I look at and obviously the Big East is the Big East, I get that.
Yeah.
But it's like there's always like 3 or 4 teams in each conference that are really good, that are a really good basketball program that only lose 8 games in a year. I think EKU's leading the conference, losing 12 games this year or something like that.
They are 15-11 overall.
Yeah, 11 games. Yeah,
which I mean is crazy because Stetson and Lipscomb have the most wins at 17, but due to their conference record, they are sitting at 2-3.
Yeah, so it's just interesting to think and to see that, because obviously the Power 5 plays more games than what the Group of 5 does. So, that doesn't really do anything to March Madness seeding, whatnot. You're gonna have to win the conference to get in, but still, it is what it is. So that's good. But really quick before we move on, I want you to move your attention to some Instagram and Twitter stuff. We've got APSU Crunchtime at APSU Crunchtime on both Instagram and Twitter. I think the graphic's pulling up right now. Yep. So at APSU Crunchtime at Instagram and Twitter, go on there, follow us. We try and post stuff usually every day and maybe every other day. So we're going to get that rolling again. But let's move on to Austin Peay women's basketball. The women's team, the Lady Govs started their own win streak, extending it to 2 as they get the win over Lipscomb 73-60. That's a big win because the last time they played, they didn't get the win. Lipscomb has gotten better throughout the season as a women's program. The Lady Govs were led by Kurt. I struggled with this name last week. What was it? Kurteria?
I'm not. Don't ask me.
All right, Kurteria. Yeah, whatever.
We apologize.
Exactly. Kurteria Haywood led the team with 17 points and 5 boards. Lanaya Foster also added 15 points and 9 boards, and the Lady Govs improved to 13 and 13, getting back to 500.
Yeah, we are just looking at the schedule on ESPN. We are a team of streaks because we have won 4 out of our last 5. We went 5 in a row where we lost. Then we had a 3-game win streak, had another 3-game win streak, had a couple 2-game lose streaks. So you want to talk about up and down? That is the definition of our women's team. But getting 4 out of the last 5, especially to a team like Lipscomb, who's one of the better teams within the conference, it. Like we mentioned earlier, you're playing your best basketball towards the end of the season, and you're trying to get into the tournament.
Yep.
And, like you said, you can have the best record in the ASUN, but if you get bounced in the first round, you're not going dancing
anywhere.
So
yeah,
all you got to do is win the tourney. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. Easier said than done.
Easier said than done.
It's like, just win the tournament. It's like,
but
no big deal.
Riding momentum into the tournament is key. And, the women – me personally, I don't think they're bad. They hold the ball in the half court a very long time because they know their offense is kind of, subpar. So they do the right thing. And all of their losses, well, I ain't going to say all, but the majority have been pretty close losses. And with that, we could be looking at a completely 18 and 8?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We can be looking at 18-8 women's team, and at that point, we probably would be number 1 in the conference, number 2 top in the conference at some point, top women's team, low-key could be ranked at that point.
Difference in this game and what we haven't seen before is we shot the from 3-point range. We went 10 of 27 from 3-ball, and we went 9 of 11 from free throw range, which is basically a 360 from what we've consistently seen from this team so far this season. And at the end of the day, I think that's really what it comes down to is you got to play really good defense. You got to be able to at least give the threat of the 3-ball. And then you got to hit your freebies.
You got to hit your freebies.
You do those 3 things, you got a good shot.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are.
There's nothing more frustrating than watching a basketball game and it being a basketball game that you care about because, it's one of your teams, and they just cannot capitalize from the free throw line. It's just because those are, like you just said, they're free. You go there they practice them in practice under, they'll run and they'll do whatever. They'll call a quick timeout in practice. They'll go to the free throw line. They're huffing and puffing. They're breathing hard. That they got to hit free throws in that situation, but it's in a game where the mindset has to change and you got to go there and knock down free throws. That's the most important thing in a basketball game because when you get into a tournament like this, the ASUN tournament, more times than not, free throws win a game for a certain team.
I just witnessed that the other night. Girls missed 6 straight free throws, lost by 4 or something like that.
Gosh.
So
that is just brutal.
Yeah, that's a tough L. But you make 6 straight, that loss on you.
Yeah,
that
honestly,
ain't on the coach. That's on you.
Yeah, exactly. But still, I want to shed light to this as well. The Lady Govs have still not given up over 70 points since January 8th. Yeah. Something like that. Mm-hmm. So we always harp on this every week. It's not their defense. Their defense is there. They've got to be able to execute and shoot and make shots. That's what it comes down to.
Miss Haywood been balling. We talked about it last week. 4 out of 5 games, she hit double digits.
Yeah.
2, 11, 17, and what you say? 17, 15, and 9?
17 when was that game? A couple days ago.
Yeah, she had
Last
17
Saturday.
that night. So
Yeah. It's
double
good.
digits is big in college.
Yeah, I mean, they've given up 70 twice and 80 once. And outside of that, it's been 60s, 50s, and even 40s in some of their games. So the defense is not the issue.
Yeah.
But I think it's like you said, they're just so methodical on offense to the point where it's like.
And they can't make a shot. They do struggle making shots, bro.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is, and they clog up the lane for Shamari Hale, right? Who's kind of our big
Post
threat,
threat,
our
yeah.
post threat, and because they know, I mean, unless we have a night like we did against Lipscomb where we go, 33% from the three ball, they know that 90% of our shots are going to be from mid range or the post, and so they just clog the middle, and they're going to dare you to take three ball shots.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm the Govs, I'm saying, all right, I'm at least going to pretend like I'm going to.
Right.
Now
shoot
you
the
gotta
ball.
chuck them. You gotta chuck them.
At least give the threat
Yeah, you gotta chuck 'em.
of the ball.
That's the biggest thing is like at least, when you have an open shot, at least take it.
Yeah.
Because, you're either going to make it or miss it, And I mean, I know the percentages are probably against us at this point.
But
you get a night where, you're hot from the 3-point line. I mean, ultimately, you're going to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think if the Lady Govs can make 6 threes in a game,
they got a
they'll win.
chance.
They got a chance.
Yeah,
They'll win. They'll win the conference if they make 6 3-pointers in every single conference, tournament game. They'll win the conference.
If I was coach, that'll be on my whiteboard in the locker room. We just need 6 of them. I don't care how we get them. I don't care when they go in, but we need 6.
Yep.
3-3, 4-1, 4-2, whatever. 6 all in the first half. It don't matter. Make 6. That's the starting point. I think that's a good point. 6, at least 6. They got a chance.
And that opens up the middle.
Exactly.
Because if you're giving off the threat and if you're even making them, then you open up the middle to where it's not so clogged to where, okay, now you can actually feed Shamari Hill in the post.
Right.
That's another 6 points.
That's
Guaranteed.
that's
That's
another.
probably more than 6
6,
points.
no, for real.
If they have to account for the 3-point ball, and then you get some, like you said, open space in the middle, Shamar Hale's going to get hers.
Coach knows where she's got to go recruiting this offseason.
Yeah.
She knows where she's got to go.
get some shooters.
But in terms of this season, you've got to work with what you got.
You know.
That's exactly right. The Lady Govs will be back in action tomorrow night against third-place Central Arkansas in F&M Bank Arena. Can the Lady Govs finish the season strong with their last 4 games? I think we kind of touched on that a little bit, but I think they can. I mean, they're on a 2-game win streak. If they keep playing defense the way that they are, we keep harping on that, but like everybody says, offense brings people to the stands, defense wins championships.
Yep. And, the defense is there, which we've addressed. That's not the issue. But like we mentioned, it's how much can our offense produce late in the season.
Yep.
And the best way to do that is if you're not that great of a 3-ball team, get to the foul line. And when you get there,
Make them.
you got to make them.
Yep.
If you're going 75% and up from free throw range and you're shooting about 10 to 15 of those a game, then you're going to put yourself in a position where you're going to at least be able to have a chance at the end to win.
Yep. That's exactly right. The Lady Govs currently sit in 7th within the ASUN, so they're within striking distance of, and I think a lot of teams are kind of bunched up near, from 4 to 7, so maybe even 3 to 7. So if they can get hot towards the back end of the season, they have an opportunity to do something really special.
Yeah, Florida Gulf Coast and Central Arkansas, which is obviously going to be the
Florida Gulf.
They're
Florida
kind
Gulf's
of
good, man.
they're kind of off in their own little realm, but Stetson, and Stetson too at 10-3, but EKU, Lipscomb, North Al, and us and Kennesaw are all
Right
within that 8-5, 7-5, 6-6 range.
Yep.
So you've got a little bit of a logjam in the middle. So it says 7th, but I mean we're right there for the taking. We can get up to 4, 5, maybe even 3 if we can
get a
hit
favorable matchup.
Yeah, seriously, that's what it's all about. It's just get a favorable matchup. You can make it to the semifinals, play a Florida Gulf Coast. Anything can happen in March. That's what we've always talked about. That's what we keep bringing up. So definitely excited to see how the end of this season is going to be for both the men's and the women's.
Y'all think we win Central Arkansas, the women's?
You got to at this point. You're in playoff mode, basically.
Do or die.
I don't know if it's do or die, but definitely. I mean, you've got to at least make it competitive. You at least have to get to the 4th quarter late and have an opportunity to win the basketball game.
You got to get as best seating as you can because you want to try to play Florida Gulf Coast at the very last.
Yeah.
Because they're the one that, like you said, how they've distanced themselves. They're the team that everybody's looking at going, oh boy.
Yep. Yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited. I mean, I really am. I think for both the men's and women's, you know, I think it'll be a good end of the season. But take me out to the ball game, fellas. APSU baseball. The Base Govs got started off last weekend. APSU gets the series win to start the season over Western Illinois, the Leathernecks, winning the last 2 games after losing the opening game. I'll be honest, I was a little concerned after we dropped the first game. I think what was the score?
Last Friday?
Yeah, it was last Friday. So it was 6-5 was the score there.
But it was an early morning. 10 like a 10-11 start.
No, that was the Saturday game.
That was
maybe
it was
maybe it was the Friday
because it rained Friday. It was supposed to start at 2,
what it was.
and it didn't. Because I was gonna go. I see on Twitter it's 10:30 pitch off or whatever. I'm like
first pitch, yeah.
10:30. Church barely started at 10:30.
That's true. Yeah. No, I didn't realize that because now that you say that, I was coming back from practice and I saw them playing at like 12, and I'm like, what in the world? So yeah, you're right on that. But yeah, so I was a little concerned, but they came back and they did what they were supposed to do and what they were favored to do. And then let's talk about what happened last night,
dude.
The Governors, they took it to the team in Starkville.
Yeah, man.
3-2, the Governors got the win over Mississippi State. And actually, I wanted to bring this up, too. I actually went on YouTube to try and watch some highlights from that game. Well, I ended up stumbling upon the post-game press conference for the Mississippi State head baseball coach. Mm-hmm. And he was saying, obviously he was frustrated because they didn't look good at the plate. Mississippi State didn't. And he brought up the point that, the first 11 pitches from Lyle Miller Green, who started the game, were balls, and they were swinging at him. So I thought that was probably a little coach speak because I don't think Lyle Miller Green's throwing 8 or 11 balls in a row. But still, I think that it was fantastic to see the Govs get a big win like this. What does it mean for later down the season? Don't really know, but it's cool to see them get the year started off like that. But the Govs will face Mississippi State today at 4 p.m. again in Starkville. So definitely tune into that. I think it's ESPN Plus. If I'm not mistaken there. So, but the Bats were alive and well to start the season, but pitching is in question as the Govs have given up 6, 9, and 6. And within their first 4 games.
Yep, and that's the one thing that I wanted to hit on with this win against Mississippi State because obviously when we did this rundown, we didn't know what the score was going to be until last night, and that was the kind of the concern was we've given up at the least 6 in 2 games, and then you give up 18. Or 9. We got 18. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But 9. So listen, it's early. The pitching usually is not as.
It's a rhythm thing.
It's a rhythm thing, and the pitch clock nowadays. Pitchers got to make a decision to go. They can't sit on the ball for 2 minutes like they used to be able to. They have to make a decision to go.
Yeah.
But and I know it's one game. It's baseball. It's one game.
Yeah.
But you only gave up 2 runs to a very good SEC team.
They were ranked. They were ranked 24th in the country.
Yeah, and how many years are they removed from winning the whole thing? 2 or 3?
Yeah, it was back in 2019, I think.
It's been that long?
Dude, yeah, it has, I promise. Because they didn't play in COVID, so that's 2020. And then 2021, I think it was Vanderbilt. And then you're kind of a Vandy guy. Do you remember that?
Oh, wow.
I think 2021 was the last time we won it, yeah.
Yeah.
But still, listen, a very good baseball team.
Regardless.
In an SEC baseball
environment,
team.
too. It was an SEC environment.
They
won. Yeah.
Mississippi State Bulldogs returns the National Championship Series on June 30th. They defeated y'all in 2021.
Oh, so it was 2021.
9-0.
Wow.
I thought it was a little more recent.
The first national championship title.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But no, regardless, that's still something to. First of all, it's something to post on social media and get kind of the fan interaction around the whole thing.
State. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, the 24th or 25th ranked team in the country, so they were down last year a little bit. But I want to go back to pitching a little bit too. Is that at this level, especially, you're either recruiting guys that were overlooked by the Power 5, or guys that were on a Power 5 roster that didn't play. So you're getting guys that really haven't had Division I experience. So you just don't know how they're gonna, be in one of their first starts, especially early in the year.
Mm-hmm.
I know, we've got a veteran guy like Lyle Miller Green, Oklahoma State, to here, and then I think Luke Rowland pitched one time, and then Jacob Weaver was a starter last year. So our starting rotation, Friday, Saturday, Sunday guys, are pretty solid. But once you get to the back end of the bullpen, 6th, 7th inning, what have you, it's a little kind of, you're throwing something at the wall and kind of hoping it works.
Yeah, especially early.
Exactly, early, until you can kind of get something carved into stone of how you want to go about that. But after the game with Mississippi State today, the Govs will return home to face Maryland Eastern Shore Friday for a 3-game series. So I'm not going to act like I know anything about Maryland Eastern Shore.
Never this is no disrespect to Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah.
But this is the first time I'd ever heard of you.
Yeah.
Like when I was doing the rundown and I looked at it, and I was like, I mean, that has to be like Division 2 or Division 3.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Can you look that
That's
look
what
that
I'm
up?
looking at
Dylan?
right
Yeah,
now.
look that up because that's interesting. I would wonder if we're playing. I mean, it's got to be Division 1, right?
Maryland,
Maybe.
Eastern
I mean, if we're playing,
Shore.
yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, basketball teams out here playing Division 2 and Division 3 schools. I wouldn't put it past baseball.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, I mean, you got to think, like, for them, like, when a Mississippi State plays us, right, like, we're, like, their quote-unquote cupcake.
Yeah.
The Division 2 ranks and Division 3 ranks would be.
Yep, I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Compete in 15 sports at the Division 1 level,
Okay.
7 men's and 8 women's.
Okay.
Dang. All right. So yeah.
And listen, this is no disrespect to Maryland Eastern Shore.
No, it's not. We just literally have no. I mean, I'd never heard.
No.
No, never in my
No,
life.
they're
sounds so
probably
bad.
they're probably doing their equivalent to this show,
Mhm.
and they're probably like, I've never heard of
I've
Austin
never
Peay.
heard.
That's
Nah, we big enough in the state of Tennessee.
I don't know.
I mean, we just beat Mississippi State. Let's give us some credit.
I mean,
Everybody
I'm
knows
giving us credit.
Everybody knows Austin Peay.
If you don't know the P,
Nah.
what are you doing?
Yeah,
if you don't know
I'm
the
just
P,
talking
check
from a
in.
national perspective.
Yeah.
Does everybody know us? And its answer is no.
Well,
yeah.
No, that's a good point.
That's fair.
That's a good point.
That's just fair.
That's fair.
It's interesting because when I go to like some of these tournaments, not with the team obviously, but like separately, amateur tournaments around the United States, they'll be like, you go to college in Texas? Where is that? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's in Tennessee. It's like 45 minutes north of Nashville. So
That is the first thing you got to say. And we right there in
right at
that
Nashville.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's it.
That's a big selling point.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
They be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But
They still
this,
don't know.
I'll be honest, guys. This getting back to this baseball team, I'm really excited about them because they have the potential to compete in the ASUN and ultimately get a bid into a regional. Now, will it be a favorable regional? Probably not, just based off of how the committee does that and how they treat Austin Peay. But I'm excited, man. They've got some players
Yeah.
that can really
No,
play.
we do.
And if you do get in a regional, I mean, and you've got us an hour down the road, and then you got you down the road
In
Yeah.
Knoxville.
3 hours away. So you've got within like a 4-hour radius, like two powerhouses of the
Yeah.
SEC. So but we got to get there first.
Exactly. Yeah. This is way too early in the season to be talking about
many more
regionals
games
or
to play.
anything like that. We need to see how we play. Heck, against Maryland Eastern Shore.
Nah,
Let's
for
be
real.
honest.
Not for real.
But Vanderbilt's not making.
What you think we do
They're not
tonight,
hosting
though?
a regional anyways.
What you
Oh,
think we do
gosh.
tonight, Mississippi State? You think they go get it back in blood, or you think we hold it down?
I think Mississippi State beats us by 7 runs.
You think
Yeah.
they come out guns blazing?
Yeah, that's kind of how baseball works.
It is.
Just
No, it is.
being from a baseball background, like that's just kind of how the tide turns,
Yeah.
especially when a team like Austin Peay goes into your place.
Take
and
the
beats-
first.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it happened to us a couple years ago where we beat Vanderbilt, and it was like a big deal. And then like the next night, Vanderbilt beat them like 20-2.
Yeah, it was gross.
Which, I mean, again, baseball, it's kind of not that an upset isn't cool, but it's a little bit.
rare.
It's not as rare. Like
Yeah.
if like a football, like if you Austin Peay beat Mississippi State in football, then
it'd
like
be
the coach would be fired.
It's
at
the
Mississippi
series.
State.
Yeah.
Thing. It's the
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, it's a
thing.
series thing.
Yeah, and the talent gap between the Power Fives and where Austin Peay is in the mid-major level, it's very slim.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
really is, But but we'll move on from that. Excited to see what the baseball team does moving forward. Women's softball. Let's get to that just before we have to head out of here. APSU women's softball has opened the season at 5-1 after coming off a win against Evansville 7-1. The Lady Govs will see action in the Tiger Classic in Baton Rouge against Boise State and Houston, so they'll get some action there.
Good.
And then, the Lady Govs have given up a total of 16 runs and in 6 games, 14 of those coming against Miami of Ohio, which they're not a bad MAC team, I'll be honest. But for that, it'll do it for Crunch Time.
Yep.
I just want to say thank you to Doc V for letting us use the studio, David Ellison, Steve Sawyer, the GAs, Trey Whiteout, Isabella Christensen, and Paige Hearn. They're the ones that make this show run. We literally just sit here and talk sports, or at least attempt to, so we want to make sure that they're the ones that really run this show. But for right now, that's Crunch Time.